Okay, welcome everybody. This is John Lobdell. I'm a poet from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I do a reading every Wednesday at 6, and I put it on YouTube. And I do it live on Zoom with some friends of mine. And I like to start with a little body-mind centering, so I'm going to rub my hands together until they get a little bit warm, and put them right over my eyes. And just take a few big, deep breaths. Do that a couple more times. All right. I remembered my glasses. So let's see. Well, I haven't been writing a lot of poetry lately, but I wrote one this afternoon just for the heck of it. So we'll see what I said.
Hi.
Who was that?
Brenda.
Oh, Brenda.
Hi. Hi, Brenda.
Hi. Oh, you have a new thing. Cool. All right, John, I'll let you go. Keep going.
Okay. Let me see. What am I doing here? This is a little poem I wrote today. Sitting in my car in the parking lot, I watch people come and go from their cars. I don't want to add too much to the scene. These people I don't know, yet I do know them. They want to have times of happiness and to quickly forget the unhappy times. I don't want to read much more into it, yet feeling my breath rise and fall in my chest like ocean tides. I'd like something more, to sail away on a distant sea, not really to see exotic lands. I've seen none before. No, somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, I'd like my heart to break through my breast, out of the humdrum patterns, and fly over the waves like one of those flying fish, only touching the crests of waves when absolutely necessary. Not too bad. The crests of waves, that's hard to say. Well, let me see. I'll read a few of my poems, and I'll see what Linda sent me a very nice one. I was listening to Robert Bly the other day, so I thought I'd read this poem I wrote for him. Where are you, Brenda? I can see you there.
Yeah, I'm walking around.
Oh, you're walking. That's funny.
Yeah, this time I'm not sitting in my car. I'm walking
Cool.
into my sunny back room.
Oh, okay. For Robert Bly. I heard toward the end he'd lost his mind, but he was okay with it. I think he just used every bit of right and left brain until only the spark that brought him here remained. And isn't that a good epithet for us all? He lived in two worlds, which aren't really two at all. His mother taught him poetry. Ever after he loved the delicacy of nature. Also, he felt the grief of never bonding to his father. He examined the consequences of the Industrial Revolution. So many sons longing for their fathers, isolated in the offices of commerce. And he rediscovered the wild man, so suitable for his own exuberant self. He discovered the paradox that it is the wild man who abhors war. It is he that understands and honors death and grieves the destruction of nature. It is sad at the inability of modern man to feel what it is like to be a real man. I'm sure as he walks the road to heaven, he will meet Stafford there. Together they will entertain the angels, who will feel hope for the future of men.
Stafford.
William Stafford, the poet. They were like best buddies.
Okay.
Barbara's sending us a heart. She likes that one. Let's see. This one's called Fishing. I'm sitting by the lake I fished as a kid. The hot, still summer air smells of dry grass, just like I remember it. The gentle lapping of waves, like a familiar song, sends me back to those days. Dad would leave me and my brother here, then he'd go look at real estate. When the sun was low in the western hills, he'd return and we'd go to the Value Giant and get glazed donuts. A crow flies onto a dead tree covered in hanging moss. Back in the day, it would have been a blue jay. Ecology has changed. I don't feel changed. I'm watching the water, the hills, the sky. I'm still that boy waiting for a fish to strike. Of course, sometimes we didn't catch anything. Yet it was still fun, and there were the donuts to come, and a secure web of family. Sunday stretched out languidly here. The future was Monday in school. Now my future is mostly in the past. I feel I could sit here a long time, watching the waves gently lap forever. The urgency of life has calmed down. My future is tomorrow again. Breathing this ancient air, feeling my butt on ancestral ground. I see I learned waiting and watching here, and that catching something might not be the point of it all. What else do I have? Let's see. This is called the white butterfly. The blackberries have snaked into the knobby fig branches, their black fruit interspersed with the yet green figs. Sitting right leg crossed over left, foot bouncing a little, I'm here reading a poetry book, lost in thought. Cat opens a sleepy eye. She has noticed the white butterfly's wings slapping the air. Wriggling her whole body, she runs after it and pounces. Capturing my breath, I rise on my feet, take an impression of it all, including myself. In an instant, it all comes together. Everything I see and the invisible thread running through it all. Well, I'll read this in honor of Tax Day. Tax forms. To save paper, I've been writing poems on the backs of old tax forms. It seems apt. One side to feed the body, one side to feed the soul. Not the strangest company, these two. Though I like the loafing of Whitman, one must survive in this world, And yes, it takes strength to write a good poem, too. The trouble is one of these brothers is a Bowie, and we know deep down Bowies are scared. If he can learn to share, he can finally see something is missing. Then the spark of knowing and the resolve of doing may come together and make a steady flame. Together they can climb the mountain and find courage to love, to live, to long for, to remember. All right, that's enough of my poetry. Glenda sent me a very nice one. Let me see. This is by Glenda. It's called Maple. I wonder if I used to be a strong, sturdy maple tree grown from a random whirling seed. Oh, I like that. That landed in her daffodils. A seed she nurtured and watched for a time to present me with a perfect home. And as my branches reached like arms, yet gracefully protected her from nature's harm, I'd watch her curl up neath my shade and read her book in the nest she'd made. I kept the rain from falling through, sometimes sent her some red and gold, to whisper as she tiptoed close, to catch the wind. I'd swirl and pose. Then I'd catch the flakes of white to give her beauty on winter's night. And when she watched me from her door, I promised I'd soon be something more. Then suddenly browned, to become pale green. And finally she'd bring her book to read, and I'd protect her as I sent her some seeds, whirling as the wind carried these, to land here in her daffodils. Very nice, Linda. Is that
Thank
one of
you.
your older ones? It's a rhymey one.
No, it's a new one.
A new one. Oh, cool. That's lovely. Yeah. Is it the maple tree that's talking?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I like that.
Thank you.
Cool. Great. All righty.
Did you ever get the link to Melanie's poems?
You know I did, Brenda. And you know what? I found her book, so I'm just going to read out of her book because it's easier to see. Is this the book you have?
Oh, yes. That's one of them. Yeah. Yeah. Determining Sky or something.
Yeah. Which one did you send me? You sent me the one with little.
I don't remember. You know,
Yeah, probably any of them are good. Yeah. Let's read this one. Great Blue Heron. This is by a lady named Melanie Green who, at kind of a young age, got, what was it? What do they call that when you're tired all the time? Immune disease or something. She suffered quite a bit.
yeah, I can't even remember myself what it is.
She suffered quite a bit, but wrote some nice poetry about it. Chronic fatigue, that's what she got, yeah. This one's called Great Blue Heron. Flying the silence of the slow blue wing, landing blue-gray folds, heaven into earth, stick-legged to shallowed calm, the dark and broken trees. Stillness, the hunter, Shoulders carry time sloped. The hunted fish feels shapes, a sculpted shadow, safe here. Speared lightning becomes into silence, and maybe why we are afraid of it. Yeah. Here's one where she just mentions a whole bunch of different birds. It's kind of fun. Bird list. Wimburl, Anhinga, Chachalaka, Lazuli bunting, Mississippi kite, elegant tern, least bittern, emperor goose, bean goose, black-bellied tree duck, wandering tattler, laughing gull, porwhill, say Phoebe, Chuck Will's widow, blue-footed booby, white-rumped swift, long-toed stint, veery, rough, veery, sora, petchora, pipit, wryneck, dickcissel, sage thrasher, bufflehead, scaled quail, whiter eider, lagopus, greater blue-rumped, three-winged, wide-eyed, two-toed, beardless, buff-bellied, grove-billed swamp chicken, cuckoo. That's fun. Lots of fun bird names. This one's called am the watching. Am the watching. Our fire, our hot dogs, our ketchup, marshmallows, chocolate bars, tablecloth, wind, the plastic knives. I was 38. My mother was 68. Watching the sun lose itself in its turn to the sea, the salt, the sinking. When is it time to go in? Scooping sand, putting out the fire. My mother, uneven stones, lost, her footing, her hand out to catch, hand to stop, hand to coals. When did you know? Must have been what it was to have a daughter and watch her fall. Ooh. Childless, I will have no children. The watching now, my mother, the body. I enter the world from her cleaning the wound, body singing hymns, taking spiders outside body. What must leave, watching should the years coming, the taken, the granted. One more by her. Columbia River Gorge. The green and dark of the trees and mist, comfort of the seen and unseen, each here calligraphy for a ragged yearning, hawk on the wind, blue rain, and the river is time, hill distant blue, hill, a quiet sum, Caesar salad, salmon chowder, cheesecake, well, that sounds good, heat sweet cedar, sweet cedar, sweet sauna, sweating, the naked be slow. What purse of fire do you carry? Tomorrow I'll be so tired, none of this will matter to me. Sword ferns, rill, wren in the brush pile. Red single engine playing low through the valley of the shadow of now. The river is time. I remember. It matters. Now I'll read some more of her the weeks to come. Yeah, we lost Julie. I wonder why. Maybe she had to go somewhere. This is by Gary Snyder. Sunday. Well, I know Sunday is Sabbath, but whoever does it, except Barry, Berry, that must be Wendell Berry. Nice poems. It just happens I'm free, the first time in weeks, from chores and promises, cracked vowels, late bills, and I think I'll take time to brush the dog. She likes that. And the oil dry hard leather for for shears, for the tape rule hatchet. Read a recipe for an aubergine salad. This isn't work. Then go for a hike toward the bobcat dens and gravels. Hope no wildfires start today. I'll get there and back, and just for a second, maybe play. Here's a poem by Ursula LeGuin, who was famous for science fiction novels, but she's also a lovely poet. A little one. Farther, adrift on the sound of rain, on a windless sea, in a sailless skiff. Sleep. The way it comes unnoticed so easily, like when we were on the tide flats of that great bay a long time ago now, the two girls wandering out between me and the far-off glittering water, each of us crouching at a rock pool, absorbed, and then another rock pool, till I looked up and saw the shine of water between black rocks and weed rack, where there had been only sand. Saw how it covered up the rocks so easily, a rising as soft as sinking, and the little one too far away to hear, her sister, and I ran toward her, calling, hollering. Finally she looked up, stood up, and struggled back to us through quick-flowing, deepening water. We splashed through shallows to the sand, stood, turned, watched the glittering tide rocking where we had been out there. The other element, where to be we must be other. Where to be we must be other. The other. They're all we know, we must know differently. In vastness, abysses, in shifting images, in silences, illusions, monsters, gleams, and always under all the dark and the peaceful sinking deeper as it rises. I think I've had that experience of being out in tidal flats, just absorbed and looking at stuff, and then all of a sudden I realize the tide's coming in. Here's one called Dreaming Tracks. Strange are the ways and the tracks of dreams, mind follows in its nightly wanderings. The Syrian girls, their dark and timid eyes, we gave eggs to them. I finally found the furry nest the cat had made in the bank of dirt below the tennis court. How glad I was to see him there and safe from the strangers who'd taken over the house and the coyotes everywhere. The eggs were all painted with red dots and curlicues. Connections vanish as I wake, but still the little paw prints on the hidden track into the nest are comforting to me. And one more by her. The people. Some people have begun to come into my dreams, and from a long way away, traveling over the mountain passes that nobody living knows. Old people who smell like fog in the dark bark of redwoods. They talk together softly. They know more than I know. I think they come from home. Wow, I like that. Old people who smell like fog.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good line, isn't it? Yeah, read that again. The people. Some people have begun to come into my dreams from a long way away, traveling over the mountain passes that nobody living knows. Old people who smell like fog and the soft bark of redwoods. They talk softly together softly. They know more than I know. I think they come from home. Ooh, I wish I could write a poem like that.
That's Ursula LeGuin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised she wrote poetry. You know, she's famous for those science fiction novels, but
Huh, I thought she was an activist as well. That's great.
she might have been. I don't know. Her parents were like professors at Cal, I think, or something.
Mm-hmm.
She's gone now, of course. Well, it's getting a little late. I suppose it's actually pretty much Mary time. This is a Mary Oliver. From this river, when I was a child, I used to drink. But when I came back, I found that the body of the river was dying. Did it speak? Yes, it sang out the old songs, but faintly. What will you do? I will grieve, of course, but that's nothing. What what precisely will you grieve for? For the river? For myself, my lost joyfulness? For the children who will not know what a river can be? A friend, a companion, a hint of nature, of heaven. Isn't this somewhat overplayed? I said it can be a friend, a companion, a hint of heaven. These are some of the ones where she got kind of political in some of these. Okay, desire. So long as I'm hanging on, I want to be young and noble. I want to be bold. So said the great buck named Swirler as he stepped like a king past me. The week before he was arrow killed. And so said the wren in the bush after another hard year of love, of nest life, of singing. And so say I every morning just before sunrise, wading the edge of the dark ocean. And here's one of her Percy poems. Percy was your beloved little dog. It's titled, I asked Percy how I should live my life. Love, 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 says Percy, and run as fast as you can along the shiny beach or the rubble or the dust. Then go to sleep. Give up your body heat, your beating heart. Then trust.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Mornings at Blackwater. For years, every morning I drank from Blackwater Pond. It was flavored with oak leaves and also, no doubt, the feet of ducks. And always it assuaged me from the dry bowl of the very far past. What I want to say is that the past is the past, and the present is what your life is, and you are capable of choosing what that will be, darling citizen. So come to the pond or the river of your imagination or the harbor of your longing and put your lips to the world and live your life. Maybe we'll do one more here. Swimming one day in August. It is time now, I said, for the deepening and quieting of the spirit among the flux of happenings. Something had pestered me much. I thought my heart would break. I mean the mechanical part. I went down in the afternoon to the sea, which held me until I grew easy. About tomorrow, who knows anything, except that it will be time again for the deepening and quieting of the spirit. Well, okay, dear ones, I'm gonna leave it there.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Thank you guys for coming on. That's great. Maybe Julie will tell me why she, what happened to her. Great. Well, have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you again next Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Brenda, Barbara,
Glenda.
Brenda and Glenda, I get confused. Barbara's sending us a heart. Okay. All right. There's the end.